because hoeing around.
I can't.
Because hoeing around would be probably having sex with people that you don't necessarily like that much.
I just want my mom to be proud of me and like be like those parents.
He's like, I love your ass. I was like, yeah, I do. Really? Oh my gosh, I was low key writing a porno in my journal the other day.
Hey guys, welcome to another sleepover series episode. Happy that we all get to be here together today. Today we're here with a very special guest who I've been living with for the past month and just having the most life enriching and wonderful and fun experience, and it is Anya! We just decided to start filming spontaneously because we were having some pretty funny conversations. I mean, it's been like essentially a month-long sleepover. But before we get on to the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp, for providing accessible, worldwide, online, professional therapy in multiple different languages. I don't even know if I would have started therapy without them because they make it so easy to start. When you log on, they'll give you a quiz where they ask you about what you're going through, and then within 48 hours, they will match you with the most suitable therapist. And they also have thousands upon thousands of different therapists, which means switching and trying out different people and different styles is super easy and seamless. Plus, their services are more affordable than traditional therapy, and they also provide financial aid. So if there's something in your life that you want to overcome, or something that's weighing heavy on your heart and you wanted to speak to a professional, I would highly recommend you guys try BetterHelp. You can get a discount using the link down below, betterhelp.com/field-notes. And without further ado, let's get on into the video.
What about your celibacy?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm like, I don't want to.
Your celibacy!
Yeah, so I'm dedicated a year to be celibate because after every single relationship I've been in, I don't look for another relationship. I'm in the mindset where I'm like, oh, I'm in my hoe phase now. I get to be a hoe because I feel like I never had that.
We're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, like, because a lot of people are having that fun romantic dating time. Like, I listen to your stories and I'm like, I want that, you know?
I feel like it sounds better on the outside.
Okay, maybe it does. But yeah, like, I'm like, I want that experience, and then I end up like on Tinder or something, or I'm just like more social, kind of like looking, and then I meet someone and I like, okay, because I don't think I can sleep with someone that I'm not like super into, so
that is very good.
I have to be like, I have to find them attractive, I really have to vibe with their personality, and I have to really respect or like admire a certain trait about them, or like an essence that they have. Something I've noticed. Every time I end up in a 2 to 1 year long relationship.
And you're not even trying to get in them?
No, literally with end of high school, I was like, fuck dating guys, I don't want to date guys anymore, I just want to finish school and go to university and like get crazy. And then the very last semester of high school, I met Seb, and we've been in the same high school all 4 years, and we never met each other, but we all know of each other's mutual friends, but we've literally never even seen each other in the school that only has like 2,000 people.
What? How does that work?
I know.
That's crazy.
I was like, I've literally seen every single friend of yours, and you've seen every friend of mine, but we've never seen each other until the very last semester.
Like, I had the same size high school, but I feel like I knew everybody.
Exactly. Now me too.
What?
Yeah, and then we were together for like 2.5 years, and then we broke up because I went on exchange. And then, okay, I don't know if we say people's names. The German guy. we started seeing each other like 3 months later.
That's so interesting that it's not, maybe, you know, people have such a funny outlook on relationships where it's like, if you do want to be in one, then you have to actually pretend like you don't want to be in one and focus on yourself, and then it will fall in your lap right when you least expect it. And maybe that's what actually happened to you, because you're like, I don't want to be in one.
But I want to F around. Like, I think theoretically, an open relationship, I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why. But then I literally, with the German guy, okay, I'm just saying the names of people I'm not publicly, like, because I feel like he's way more introverted.
Right.
Whereas, like, Seb and Andrew are, like, way more into YouTube, so I don't, like,
they're out there.
They exist on the internet anyway, so I'm just saying that. But I hate referring to people by like their country or their like nationality or their race, because I hate being like, oh, the Asian girl. I'm like, oh, just like, have a name.
Right. I'm a human being. I'm a human being.
But for this purpose of this, I guess we'll call him the German guy. Yeah, we were both got out of relationships and we're like not looking for anything serious, and literally 2 weeks later we're like, he's like sitting me down in front of like this like theater hall. He's like, we should just go for it, you know, we're so into each other, we should just like just let ourselves like fall in love.
I feel like you're also an easy
And I was
person
like,
to fall in love with. So.
Oh.
For reals, it makes sense when they're like, Leah, we can't let Leah out of my grasp. No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Oh my god, you're
like,
too kind.
We gotta keep this one.
That is what an honor. Okay, I'll stay here. I'll stay in your room while you go on all these dates and come back and love. And I'm just like, ooh, fun stories, but I don't have to interact. But yeah, even with Andrew too, I was like, oh, this is my summer in Montreal. I'm only here for 3 months, so it's my time to hoe around.
Right.
And then.
But
you really
don't
along.
even enjoy hoeing around, because hoeing around.
I can't. I physically
Because hoeing around would be probably having sex with people that you don't necessarily like that much.
But how do you do that?
I don't want to be doing that. I'm just really horny.
Yeah, but like I can be really horny, but I still can't get to that point because I'll be like, icky.
Well, that's good, because then the sex even isn't even cooked. And then I'm laying there.
That's
and then I'm
what
like,
I don't want.
no, we don't want that. I don't want that either. But then I'm horny. I know.
But use your hand.
I definitely do. I definitely do. Well, actually, I think a big part of it is I really just like crave like warm human body. And then sometimes when you're on a date, and then one thing just leads to another. I'm like, how did we get here? Oh, but a good point. Oh, well, one point that has to do with sex. Whenever because I don't talk about sex on my channel, and it's a reservation that I have.
Because you're a virgin on your channel.
Yeah, so I guess to the world on my channel, I
She's
am
a
very
virgin. She's a sex goddess on my channel.
Yes, I am the celibate queen. I don't touch that
No,
stuff.
I'm celibate queen.
You
on
are
my
celibate
channel.
queen. Now is your time to shine.
I'm being celibate this year because I
Right,
realized,
now's your time.
I realized when I'm in the mindset of I want to hoe around,
Right.
I end up in a freaking
Right. So
relationship.
to change the mindset that doesn't have it happen, and
Yeah, I was like,
you do not want to hoe around.
because every time I hoe around equals to your relationship.
Right.
So no relationship means no smacks.
Yes.
And I was like, I got out of the matrix. I got out of the matrix.
We're not in the loop anymore.
Yeah, I'm like,
broken free.
Doing 3 times is enough. I don't need to make my mistakes. I'm not that they're mistakes, because the past 3 guys I've dated have all been such blessings and sweet, sweet human beings who've just really, I've grown a lot. But through this relationship,
Finally, it's time for yourself. Because right after high school, because you're 20s and like
I was
those time are
17
very
when I
formative
started dating
years.
Seb.
Yes. And very like useful to be on your own and figure your
Sorry,
stuff
it's your
out.
banana time. I've been hogging it now.
I've been stacking on the peanut butter, and genuinely, I'm so happy. I was actually addicted to peanut butter at one point.
You're talking about being single and formative years.
But yeah, I'm excited for you and your celibacy, and you've broken out of the matrix.
Okay, but see, this is the thing. Before I came to Germany, I was literally getting dreams of my ex because I was like, should I tell him that I'm coming to Germany? I'm like, it's something that I would do, but then I'm like, what if he's like, come visit me, and then what if I go visit him, and then what if I still find him attractive?
Is this the art Basel class?
No, this is the, he's in Vienna now.
We didn't finish art Basel, man.
Oh yeah, Art Basel.
Back to art Basel.
Well, Art Basel man sent me some really cool nudes, but not showing his.
So they were like artistic, like.
Okay, it was like.
So did you really want to visit art Basel?
Okay, no, I don't want to visit because. Oh, but that's the thing. I'm like, am I running away from my real obstacles? Because it's easy being celibate when you're just freaking living at home with your mom in the suburbs and you don't see nobody handsome except for the nice, beautiful voice of the man.
Oh, right.
The bank collar.
Are you feeling what I'm feeling?
And that sigh at the end.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to go into it. This is just embarrassing. Not like that usually. It's just like, just that couple days each time of the month.
Oh
just
my
when
god.
you're ovulating, it's
Those
just.
couple days when your body says, we need a baby inside of us right
Oh, no.
now.
Oh, no. Our Bobby guy, he sent me these nudes, but like, he used, was it like Snapchat or like where you draw? He was like making colorful drawings. He
Really
was
made
striking naked poses and like
Oh, right, 'cause he's
really
a
cool
painter.
drawings. over his, yeah, and I was like, he was like, oh my god, sorry, is that too much? And I was like, usually, no, but like your creativity just took sending unsolicited nudes to a whole new level. I'm like, I respect the creativity. I didn't have to see any naked genitalia
that we didn't ask for,
but the message is there.
Yeah.
You know?
And also there was like a heartfelt like effort put into it.
Mm-hmm.
He was sending you an art piece of his body.
And then the craziest thing happened. He would send me like videos where him and his friends are like jamming out and they're like making impromptu songs and he's just like singing very like just sounds really. But then okay, this time I was still in school and I had this like crush on this other guy, and when he sent me this music I literally wrote a song to like I wrote lyrics to this music piece about this other guy that I had a crush on, and I was just like so creative. I was like
that's how you like can get my creative juices flowing.
Like seriously, when you're really in this like infatuation or any intense emotion, like producing art is so natural.
Yes, it just kind of flows out of you.
And you're like, I didn't know this was inside of me.
Yes.
Or like when you're around people who just like just make and play so freely. I think that's why I was like, I would love to visit this person and just like literally just be around them for like a week and be like, can you show me how to paint? Like, can you?
Shit.
Yeah. But then I'm like,
so maybe that's why he's in your dreams. He's in your dreams, right? No, different guy.
oh no, my ex is in my dreams. Okay, this is all leading up to the final point.
We're getting there.
Yeah, this always happens when I tell stories because I feel like there's so many backstory things to tell to get to the final point. But I'm like, I don't think I should see either of them because I'm trying to be celibate,
right,
just in case. Just in case. But then I'm like, am I avoiding the true challenge? Which is to not engage with people that you genuinely like admire. I think I wouldn't have it for my ex just because, you know, you kind of like part ways because like you're like, actually we don't align in this way and that. But I don't know if I'm just taking the easy route out or if I'm
by not seeing.
Yeah, or if I'm being avoidant. See, that's why I was like
so this is what
having nightmares about it.
This is where these types of things are like difficult if you make like a stern promise with yourself, because they're also very good because they teach you like discipline when you're making a promise for yourself. And also it's like hard because it's like we are free-flowing people, but if we're in the fields, but that's the point of it when you're like, no, I'm choosing this for myself.
I just want to do it like a challenge. Like, you know those challenge videos on YouTube where you're like doing this for a week, except I'm just being celibate for a year.
I would have like dates in my journal. I'd be like, this is the day. Waiting till this day.
You're like scratching lines on the wall.
This day can be free again.
It's so funny because I feel like I have like two types of friends who are like, that's not a challenge, it's so easy, like I've been celibate for X amount of years. And then there's like, I'm talking to you about it, and then I feel like, yeah, like you feel you're more psycho, you're way more psycho than me.
I just like really, oh my gosh, I was low-key writing the porno in my journal the other day. Because I was rambunctious in Paris, but I'm not gonna go into the details because it was.
Wait, what?
I did something very rambunctious in Paris.
What'd you do?
It was like, oh gosh, I saw so rambunctious. Well, here's the thing that I'm still trying to get over with sex, because truly at the core, like I feel very comfortable and safe and happy with like being sexual. But then I think back to like my years growing up, and my entire childhood was told that like sex is bad and shameful.
Oh my god, me too.
And so
not as bad as you because you Mormon churches.
Mormon church, very serious.
Yeah. And
truly, like if I'm having conversations with you or like to people that I imagine would be accepting of me, it doesn't feel something that I feel any shame about. But then if I imagine people from my church hearing about it, and I know the judgments that they'll give me, and I know the ideas of the type of life that I'm living, and they think I've like succumbed to Satan, like living like a low grade life, then I feel shameful about it.
Right. There's still a lot of shame and guilt attached to that.
Fun because, well, I actually am gonna share this because I feel like the world needs to know.
Okay.
Because I had a sexual awakening in Paris, and the whole layout of what happened was actually just like crazy.
Okay.
But Anyways, I'm gonna give the bare minimum details.
Oh god.
Which I do want to give all the details, but I'm like, I don't know if I should. But there was this man, and there was champagne, and there was probably only tonight. Might never see you again.
Is it Tinder Hinge thing?
Yes. And I think I didn't click in my mind that this man's like French. This man is French. And he's like walking, and because I was like, we're gonna meet outside, and I'm gonna decide if I feel comfortable because it was late, and I was like, this is uncomfy, unsafe possibly, and we need to make sure that nothing bad is gonna happen to me. So I made that very clear. And so, but as he was walking down the passage, it was a passage with like the pebbled walkway, and then the glistening warm yellow light because it was late, and then his silhouette was of this very fitted, grand trench coat and his clicking shoes down the passageway, and his little mustache and his curly, scraggly hair and his strong, thick French accent. And I was like, I am in a movie right now. What's going on? But anyways, champagne. Okay, now I'm giving all the details.
Why don't you just recite the porno to us?
Why don't I just go grab my journal and read it? We're doing things, we had a good time, then like the condom was getting dry, so he was like, no more of this, and then I was like, okay, well now we can't do anything, sir, but then he was like, and I was like,
wait, what? He did this? Literally?
No.
I'd be like, don't fucking do that to me, I'm totally shut.
Like, well, this guy actually ended up being total bad news in the end, but something did good come out of it, because he was like, well, I need to put a preface here. Do what you're comfortable with. Don't go out there doing crazy things that you're not comfortable with. Make sure that people are clean. Safe sex is a priority. I'm always very certain. I'm always like, any STDs? But like, you have to be honest with me. When was the last time you got a test? And it's usually literally when we're naked and they're like about to like do it. I'm like, wait. You're not lying to me, right? So I don't know if that's really the best thing.
You're choking his dick. Tell me the truth or else it's gone.
But then he was like, well, would you like to have your ass ate? And I ate.
Oh.
like licking. But then in my mind, I was like, imagine my two in his face. Like imagine my two directly into his mouth.
Okay.
I will literally never, ever likely see this man again.
So you should just do it.
Number one, and two, he asked for it.
Okay.
And I was like, and also he asked to be here tonight.
Okay.
And he's the one that took the Uber out here and brought the champagne, and he's the one that proposed the idea. So I was like, okay, go for it.
Okay.
This was groundbreaking for me, Leah. This was groundbreaking because I wasn't really expecting anything. But it felt so good. I was there on all fours with my butt in there, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Because most of the time, people are out doing their things. I over exaggerate my enthusiasm for it to make the experience a lot more exciting for me included because of sensory.
Performative.
Well,
or
it makes the experience fun
for you.
Oh my gosh, I love dirty talk. Like it's so naughty. Get very naughty.
Is that your dirty talk? Oh, you sir, you naughty sir. You've been a bad boy.
Like I like to make this a whole like spiel.
I love that.
But this time I didn't have, it wasn't like an over exaggeration of mooning. It was very real because it felt so good. But yeah, anyways, I did give all the details but like it was just, my life has been changed. I didn't expect my bum to feel good, but it felt so good.
Were you like self-conscious when it was happening, or once it started happening you were just like forgot all about the toots?
And he's like, I love your ass. I was like, yeah, I do. It's like, yes, Mr. Frenchman.
Wow.
Mr. Mustache Frenchman.
Because I feel like the time or more.
Oh my gosh, my face is so flash. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, you were reliving your porno, so. it's natural. You're like engaging in it.
Oh my god,
You,
I
you
wrote all the
almost got
details
on
down
all
my-
fours.
Oh, there was one line that I put in my journal where I was like, this was a good line. Because as we're about to kiss, I tried to go romantic and like, wait it out.
I love the way you reacted. Like, you should make a new style of porn category called comedy. But you're like still having real sex, but the reenactment is like, hey.
There was one line in my journal when I wrote, because our lips were nice and close. Now I like to relive it again. Okay. But our lips were nice and close, and I wrote lips in limbo. I was like, that was a good idea. I thought it was a really smart line.
Oh my god, you should write a book.
I should actually just pull out my journal entries.
Wait, but how did this conversation start? Because
Yeah.
there was something that you said, and then I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
I said about hookups. The thing with hookups
Oh
that I
my
imagine
God,
that I
sex-
wouldn't like is
right.
because I've never come my first time having sex with
Right.
someone, and I've never only had sex with someone once.
that's very good, because that's actually, you know what, no, this is who I want to be, Leah.
No, you are you. And that's amazing.
Living my
If you were like me, this conversation wouldn't be happening. I would not get to live through your fun stories.
Well, but the problem is like, it's not like I'm genuinely always having good sex, though. Sometimes I have,
You win some, you lose some.
you lose a lot of them, where I'm like, this may be gouging a hole out of me.
Oh,
because
no.
I know.
Oh,
But it's that I genuinely really love like more human bodies,
yeah.
and then sometimes I'm just really horny,
Oh god.
and like,
2 and 2.
and I'm not just like,
Bada bing, bada boom.
but then at the end of it, but on a serious note though, I have been trying to tell myself that we should probably, and I feel like I'm at like stage 1, and I feel like you're at like stage 5, where it's like you've told yourself and you follow it, where you're like, I need to like them, I need to have a connection with them, I'm gonna have to see this person again, there has to be like stuff going on, and now you're on your celibate stage, like actually you're at like stage 10.
No, I'm not.
Like I'm at like stage 1 where I'm like, I'm horny, I like,
No, you're literally just more fun.
I don't know. This might, I don't know.
More fun. You're just a Leo. You're
I'm
just,
just a Leo.
out there being a Leo.
I'm just out here doing my thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it really is like not that enjoyable, because then like you're laying there cuddling with someone and it's like, oh, I didn't even have a good time. Because I don't come. I barely ever come.
Right.
But that's probably the best sex of my life in August, because I actually did come and it was the first time with someone.
With that man?
The man, Mr. Sexy Man.
Oh my
Mr.
God.
Sexy Man, best sex of my life, man.
Stop talking about him. I'm gonna literally download Tinder just to look for him. If you keep
You're gonna
talking
find
about
him. But yeah, I do. But then sex is, and you're right though, like sex is better when you know someone.
But
and,
sex can also get bad within a relationship.
You're right. You're right.
Or you could be very intellectually attracted to someone, but then when you do have sex, there isn't that like,
That like boom,
Hunger.
boom.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you still win some, lose some both
Still like
ways.
some. But it's more fulfilling when you know the person. And you've
That's
got
true.
This, like,
That's true.
connection, and that's something I miss. But it's like,
Because at least if it's bad, you still like who that person is, and you still respect and
Right.
admire these traits about them, so it can't be that bad.
I was having some sex with people where I'm like, I don't think I've been hanging out with you.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, God.
And that's like actually not good, because then this is actually not good.
You're like giving your energy, your
Exactly.
sexual life energy.
Exactly, and then
away
it's
to
like
someone.
on the other receiving end for this other person, maybe it means a lot to them.
No, you don't know that.
And that's the problem. I don't know that.
Oh, because you don't know them.
Because I don't know that.
Yeah, right.
And like, then these connections that I'm making with people don't hold a lot of like
Depth.
depth and value. And like, imagine for them, us having sex was like very like beautiful, but for me I was like, I knew at like 10 minutes into our date that I probably wouldn't be seeing you again. But then later into the day we were having the feels, and like it led to one thing to another.
Wow.
But in my mind I was already out.
That's so interesting.
And I don't think that's very good because that just, then you don't know if you can trust the person. I want to be a trustworthy person. And it kind of feels as if I'm not trustworthy. But then at the same time, I really love sex. So
I think
a lot of cognitive dissonance right here. I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like you just have to do what you feel until something you're like, okay, this makes sense, I like this or I don't like this.
Right.
Because I feel like me being like, I want to spend a year celibate is because I like reflect back on the past years of my life and then I'm like, okay, this worked, this didn't work, I like this, I don't like this. Knowing that I have to admire a part of someone to be attracted to them is something that I noticed looking back. Like I wasn't like 16 years old and being like, I'm looking for someone that I can admire and have traits of that I can learn from. But it's like something I look back on, I'm like, oh, like Seb was really chill, really laid back, very like open type of person. I was like, I think that's what really drew me to him because I was like the opposite. I was like super type A, like need to have like 96 average to get into business school, like need to like do my math homework, and then he's like the kid who's like skipping class, like
He's like, relax.
failing classes.
He's like, life is good.
Teachers, our high school teachers were literally so confused with that when we were dating. They were like, what the
Like, how did this ever work?
Yeah, but I think I learned so much just from like being around him and seeing how he operates. And like that's what made me attracted to this person.
Right.
I mean, aside from the German guy, like even Andrew, like they weren't people that I met and was like, oh my god, you're cute off the bat. It's like I got to know more of their personality and then I was like, okay, yeah, like
That's so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Like wrote to just love them. And then it's so cute to see where it grew because in the beginning you didn't really have this like strong attraction towards them, but then because you have these emotional connections when they do cute little things, you're like,
oh, you're really sweet and caring. Like you see other sides of them that you don't really get to see, and then I'm like, okay, yeah. And then, but then the horniness, it just really, like I think when I do really like someone, like that horniness is like, like I don't want to do anything else. I just want to be rabbits.
Let's just go at it. I like you. You and me, let's go.
Let's go. But then I feel like I do a thing where it's like the friend that disappears when they start dating someone. I feel like I low-key become that friend. Not
where it's like they're your person. And
not
like,
intensely enough that any of my friends have ever said that to me or called me out on it, but I kind of feel like that in that all my attention goes towards this one person.
So would you say that, because earlier you brought up like theoretically polyamorous dating, do you think that's ever something that you could do?
That's something I tried to do at the summers in Montreal because I was like seeing someone in my program like back in Toronto, and then I met Andrew when I was in Montreal, and I told the person that I was like, yeah, I even asked him, even though we would never defined anything, I was like, I felt so guilty that I was like even interested in Andrew. Like I hadn't even kissed Andrew yet, but that's just liking him. And then I was like, I had a call and I was like, are you comfortable with that? And then he was like, yeah, just like do whatever. When I went back to Toronto, the vibes were just like so off because I realized, I don't know, I got to see more of him, and then I was like, I don't really like this person. Yeah, because like the moment I see like a full side of their personality and I'm like, wait, this isn't it.
Right. It's not what I was looking for actually.
Yeah, for me communication is so important. If someone's not, like I had to go in with a shovel to talk to this person.
Like, so tell me how you're feeling.
And it would have to be like literally like in bed in the dark, like 2 a.m. And I'm like, I have fucking school assignments to do. I have school the next day. I got hand-in shit. Like I can't do this every single day with you. Like,
well, that can be such a hard thing with relationships if like the weight is put on all in one person to be the emotional checker-inner.
Yeah.
And that's so much more common with heterosexual relationships that like that's put on the female. Where it's like you do the emotional check-ins of how you're feeling and you have to need it out of the man. Get it out. Get it out.
You gotta get your spoon. Go into the peanut butter.
Like, tell me, how do you feel about this? And like, oh no, like I don't really think anything. I'm like, I know you have feelings. You're human. You're allowed to have them. Please tell me. They're like, no, I really no problem. No. We're gonna get uncomfy. You have a hurt in there.
Yeah, everyone kind of has that. Yeah, I mean, even Andrew too, but he opens up pretty easily. I'm like, is something going on? He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, I just have to go like this, and he's like,
yeah.
Okay, maybe a little bit this. And
this
then
is what I'm
sometimes,
doing
but
now.
sometimes I think he's gotten really good that he would do that for me too with certain things.
Yeah, and I
So-
really respect men that can do that because
Yeah.
it is such a bigger mental pathways that they have to go through to feel emotions, because I really empathize with men. I really feel bad for them because like they're really told not to be human. They're really told to like just abandon every human thing that makes life special, which is feeling, which is an emotional person.
Except for their penis.
Except for like anger and and power. Like those are the things that a man does. I just feel so bad for them. And I'm like, oh.
They're there.
But then also I realized this is something that we as like women carry as well. Like when my ex-boyfriend like displayed emotion, it would kind of make me uncomfortable because I wasn't used to it. Where I'm like, oh, this is like out of the script. How do I handle this?
Googles.
Or like if like my dad didn't grow up and showing any emotion.
Right.
And so whenever he did, or which is like very rarely, I'd be like, weird.
I feel like when my dad does, it's like so intense, and I'm like, I don't know if it's just because he's a Scorpio,
Right.
but it goes really 0 to 100.
Whoa.
Like for me, if you're like pestering me, like my annoyance level goes up like this. You know, it's like this. You know, and then his is like this. And I'm like, and when it happens, I'm like,
oh, I couldn't prepare for this. I was not expecting this to come our way.
yeah. So you just have like water, like someone just hosing you down all of a sudden.
You're like,
and
oh.
I'm like,
I could have put my rain jacket on first.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just like not giving the tools to
Right.
communicate when these feelings start being off.
right.
And I think, I mean, I have that with sometimes with friends. Like
Yeah,
with
me
friends,
too.
it's hard
Me
to do that and to be brave and be like, hey, this happened. And I think the first time I did that was in New York with Hitomi, because I mean, she's someone that's like very safe to do that with, and she's so emotional. And I was
Yeah,
like,
she definitely
and it
needs
just
space.
it made me feel comfortable, and also just like encouraged me to reflect when something happened. I was like, oh, this makes me feel uncomfy, and then I was like, oh, I think it's because of this. And then I ended up just like sharing that with her. I was like, oh, I felt uncomfortable because of this, but I know it's because of these things. So like, you know, like it's nice to be able to like think it through and then share it. And
then you're also so much closer after
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I had that with my friend as well, because the funny thing is I usually have the same problem, and then it's what bothers me about other people. And actually, like, you do it too.
It's a projection.
It's just because you don't like it
Stop
about yourself.
projecting.
Like, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But my one friend would like interrupt a lot.
Oh,
I would
interesting.
interrupt too, though. So like, I don't know what my problem was, and I was letting this fester inside me for so long, and she could really feel it. And one night she was like, Anya, I feel like there's something like you're not telling me. I'm like, yeah, very sorry. And the way that she received it though was so healing, because she was like,
that's amazing.
thank you for sharing that. Like, that's something I know I'm not very good at, and like I would like to work on. And the funny thing is like, it's not like she magically wasn't an interrupter anymore, because that's sometimes just kind of how people are.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me anymore, because I was able to
You just
tell
let it
her.
off. Yeah.
So it's really nice when, and also yeah, that makes me closer, because I
Yeah.
felt so much closer. I'm like, okay, we went through something that was scary, that
We
felt-
overcame it.
and we felt
Yeah.
like maybe it would like ruin our friendship, but like we're okay still. We still love each
so
other.
affirming.
Yes. And it's especially nice when other people receive it with like love.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm so grateful that like you care about me enough to tell me if I'm doing something that impacts you
Yeah.
negatively.
Yeah.
Because that also shows love, where you want to have.
And you're also delivering it in a loving way. You're not
Right,
like saying
right.
like you're like this
Right.
and this.
Right, because there's reasons for everything. Like what
Yeah.
you're saying, you're like, oh, and this it's doing this, but I know it's because of this and this.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important for the understanding.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of conflict. It's just, you don't have to totally agree, but just to try to understand.
Yeah. So special.
So special.
So nice.
I felt like there was a way this was all gonna wrap up, and I'm like, what was it? Maybe it already did wrap up. It was friendships, it was emotion in men. Oh yeah! Well, that like, we usually think of men of holding like misogynistic, sexist views, but it's like, the way I view it is that there's so much pain that comes out of
male ego because they're hurting.
Yeah.
And because like there's pain that they're experiencing. And that's something that like you have to work on both ends, because when people are hurting, they need help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I feel bad. Well, and I mean, it makes sense that like when a male has emotion, that it makes me uncomfortable, because like you're breaking the script that's uncomfy. You gotta give space for them, make it extra safe for them when they cry. When the boy cries, you're okay.
Yeah, I think when you can show someone that it's okay to cry, then that shows them how to behave when someone else cries. Like I even find that in my mom. Like I think these like male ego or like traditionally masculine traits, but it's like masculine in a way that's not even like necessarily men. When I say masculinity, it's like the Chinese like yin and yang. Like the yin energy is like the more calming, nurturing, healing, like recharging energy, and then the masculine energy, the traditional masculine energy, is more like powerful, moving forward, like achievement, this, that. But even like in Chinese like medicine, you talk about, you're like, oh, women are becoming more masculine, more yang xing, but it's not the word masculine, they're becoming more yang.
When someone says like, wait,
Yin is the black side.
black side, do people mentally attribute that to masculinity, or
The
is it
black
something,
side is femininity,
or
it's the moon.
Okay.
Because the word yin is literally kind of like darkness, so like nighttime. Yang is like 太阳, which means the sun. So that's kind of like what the feminine, the yin energy is, and then the masculine yang energy is. But it's like you can't, and we're in a society where we're like, the sun is better than the moon.
Right.
But it's like we can't have sun 24/7. We need to have moon equal amounts as the sun.
Exactly.
Like because humans need to rest. We're always pushing ourselves to produce. Like we want the daytime to drag longer because we're so in this like masculine like output energy that we're not like healing and like taking time to like take self-care. And like I see that so much in my mom, where she's so like in her yang energy, because she raised me on her own. Like she's always at work, and she's not at work, she's taking me to like my classes, this and that, and she never had time. Like I've never seen her perform any act of self-care. And I think that carries over to me. Like I have such a hard time just like resting and doing nothing. And also, I mean, we're in a society like that too, but just seeing that not modeled in front of you and your kid. And now like when I have like a hard like traumas come up with my mom, or I get really emotional around her and I cry, she'll get like frustrated at me, she'll get mad at me for crying. Like we were on a walk the day before I left, and I was like, I feel like we were having so much like conflict, and the day I'm leaving, you're like suddenly nice to me, and it made me sad, because I was like, oh, we could have been like this the whole time, or what? And then she's like, see, I can't be nice to you, and I can't be mean to you. Like I'm nice to you, and you're getting
like
mad.
Such a mom,
and like she's like all this. I was like crying, and I just started crying. We're like on a fucking suburban sidewalk taking a walk, and I'm just like
family drama. It's just everything's coming out right now.
I was like tearing up, crying, and I was just like, you're not listening to me. It's not about. I'm like,
Yeah, it's especially sensitive with moms, because like I thought you were supposed to be
like
supposed to be the emotional safe place, and I'm all shattered.
Yeah, you think your parents are like perfect and all this. It's like these expectations you have of them. But I was like, she's like, what do you want me to do? And I was just like, I was crying through my tears. I was like, why would you yell at someone who's crying? Like, if someone's crying, I would hug them.
Right.
And then she just like, we were walking, 5 seconds passed in silence, and she just gave me a hug.
Oh.
And then I cried even harder, because I was like,
oh, thank you, you love me.
Yeah, and it's like,
and that shows growth too, because it's probably something that like she just had to like suck up at some points, because there was no other option. And so then to see it is probably uncomfortable for her, where it's like, oh no, like
I made someone cry, and then
like,
you use anger to be like, stop crying, why are you crying? Like one time I was like crying so hard, I was like low-key having a freaking anxiety attack, and she was like, when I'm sad, do you see me crying face down on the bed? I was fully face down on my bed crying, because I was like, I can't even look at her because I'm gonna cry harder. And she said that to me, and I was like, oh my god. And I'm like, I'm not in a safe space. I don't feel comfortable. And then just stay in my room, and I don't exit my house at my mom's. And then, because I'm like, I know if I'm in a bad mood or something, like I feel like I won't be accepted. When I'm out and about, I just feel like irritated by anyone saying a regular comment to me, because I can't share that I'm like, I'm sad, because I feel like if she sees me sad, she'll be like extra concerned for me and then be like
Right.
more naggy or like,
Right.
are you seeing a therapist? I'm like, bruh, can you just like listen?
I'm just like sad and would like to look
Yeah.
Yeah, the balance can be hard, and it's. I think that goes back to like generational traumas too.
Oh,
where,
100%.
like goes down the line of things that she's had to endure and experience, and those things that don't feel safe for her. Because a lot of the times when like we see some things that we've had to hide in the past, she probably just feels so like possibly triggered by it, where it's like, oh my gosh, this means I failed. Seeing my daughter cry in front of me, we need to stop this right now. What's the fastest way?
Yeah, stop crying!
Just say stop crying! Yeah, it can be hard with intimate relationships, because that was the same thing with me growing up with my mom. Is like, and I think naturally you go to your mom to find like an emotional safe space, but sometimes like they're not able to give that to you, and then it's really hard as a kid or just like at any stage when like that's where you would be nurtured emotionally.
Did you feel that a lot with your mom?
Yeah, but now looking back, which I'm really grateful for, is like my family has healed so much, and like now I can, which is kind of cool. I think and I feel so much like empathy for my mom, like thinking about the things she had to go through with 4 kids. And I feel like crying for her, because she like had to grow up like raising 4 little girls, like very feeling unheard and like by herself and doing all this, and she really had no one. And I think this comes back to like, I mean, I can't speak for like your family's experience, but like we really need each other through like being moms and parents and looking after people. And when people are too isolated and by themselves, like you have to pick up so much of the slack that then there's not that room back again to the yin and the yang for balance. You have, it's like the whole balance is out of skew, because you have to push too much in one end just to keep things like going, because there's not that connection. So I feel just now, I just feel very like bad for my mom that she was kind of just by herself.
Okay. Another reason that it's a hypothesis with like why I feel like I can only really be intimate with men that I feel like really attracted to and safe around, or even like date. I don't know, I feel like I get a lot of my comfort and security from that significant other. Because growing up with just like one mom, it's like so much of your life depends on this one person. Like all your security and comfort is within this one person. It's not like I have siblings.
Right.
I don't have siblings I can talk to. I don't have like a secondary parent to talk to. It's just like this one person. You're like, okay, I just have to be like good in the eyes of this person. Please just like me.
I have to please you. Please love me.
Yeah, like
give me the things I need, and I must.
My mom wasn't even the
return
type of mom to be like, you have to go to this school, you have to get these grades. But I was like, okay, this is what all the other Asian parents are wanting, so I better get that shit together. I better get that high grades and shit. And then like, I feel like whenever I had those really big achievements, she never shared them with people, because the moms who like push their kids to do those things are the ones who go out there and be like, my kid just did this,
child just
you
had
know.
this award,
and I just want my mom
this.
to be proud of me and like be like those parents, but she's not doing it. She's not saying nothing.
I guess I have to do more.
When I was like in grade 5 or 6 or something, I did this test and I was like, I could go to this like gifted program. I see other parents and they're like, oh, my kid's going to the gifted program, blah blah blah. And my mom's like totally not that type of person either. She's so not that type of person to brag about anything, but she was just like being very secretive about it. Like she would just like try her hardest not to mention that. And I think
that's something that she didn't really like
yeah, I think one day I told her about it. No, she was just like, I don't want people to have such high expectations of you, because if you tell people that you're gifted, then they might think that you're like, they need to go and do that, or I don't even know, to be honest. I'm like, okay, cool, like I guess. But then I think I just wanted my mom to be more like expressive. I think we're just very different personality-wise. I don't know. She's not like she's not the type of person to be like, oh my god, amazing to anything. I think her just emotional levels are just like more tame. I feel like we're both really easily like, I like
that's amazing, that's wonderful.
So I guess going back to like the relationships thing, I think a lot of times in these like long-term relationships I've had, I just like wanted so much validation from the other person in a way that I didn't really fully recognize, but just having someone that really loves you, like, be like, wow, you're like great, good job at this, like you should do it, or like I don't think I would have started YouTube without Seb pushing, being like, yeah, you should do it, you could totally do it.
Assurance.
Or like, yes, the assurance, yeah. And I'm like, and I think that's a big reason I'm like, hey, I just want to be single now. I think I want to cultivate, like, I know what it feels like to have someone really trust you and like believe in you and love you and just, I don't know, like accept you and comfort you when you're sad. I'm gonna cry, but like, yeah, like seeing that through like the 3 like very long-term relationships I've had, and like the sense of assurance that they've each given me, like even the guy that, the German guy, seeing him being someone that was older but like didn't have this super specific 9-to-5 life path, and he was just like doing all these different things, figuring things out, like, and him being like, oh, you're fine, it's okay, you don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't know what you're doing, and you're fine. And like,
you're 6 years older than me, and you're saying I'm fine, and I'm just doing my okay, must be
great.
good.
Yeah, so it's like that.
Thanks for telling me that.
Yeah, I'm like, seeing is believing. Like, you're fine.
You're fine.
You're hot. Like, you're great. Like, I'm gonna be fine.
I can also be fine and hot.
I'm gonna be fine and hot and great. So I think I'm like, okay, now that I know what those feelings feel like, that they've shown me, like, I need to cultivate that in myself. Because the 1 month where Andrew was like so busy with this one specific project that we both knew would be a super rush project, very intense. Yeah, it's just very neglected. Like, I would like leave for a whole day, I'd come back from the studio and he'd be like still at his table. He's either still working or like gaming to like blow off the steam of working. And like, I remember when I'd first go to the studio and come home, he'd be so excited to see me, like run to the door like a puppy type of thing. Or open the door for me. I'd, like, welcome home. Yeah, and I love that. I love like greeting someone, being excited to see them again. Or like when you go on a date and you come back, I'm like, yeah. So it's like really nice, and then I think just seeing that stop, and maybe it's like all of a sudden that, like that, I don't know, attention. I don't know if it's attention or just like love and caringness is like suddenly taken away because they're just busy. It's not they don't love you, but then it really put like a hole in my heart, or like, I felt so like, you're like still like a child again. And it's like
inner wounds that come up where it's like, I just wanted my mommy to tell me that she really loved what I did, and now the person I love isn't giving me love.
They're freaking like,
I don't know about anything anymore. No one loves me. We're not good. That little soreness inside. Ow.
But it's if you're an adult, so you can't even cry about. You're like, this is a project. You know why this person's doing this. It makes sense. I'm like, okay, I'll just go travel and do my own things, and I still care about them. I know they still love me. I still love them. Blah blah.
Is that also partially a reason why you want to do your year of celibacy too?
Oh, 100%. That's like literally the reason. I'm like, I want to be able to cultivate these feelings that other people have given me and shown me, but within myself. So this other person is not my source. Like, I am my own source.
What does that like look like for you, where it would be like, I am my source of assuredness?
this one, have you ever seen Sadhguru? He's like this Indian man with this beard, and he's quite funny the way he like talks, but he was talking about in relationships, he's like in the olden days there's a push start car. So you have to push it. Like, people have to physically push this car to get it going. That's a push start car. So he's like, when it comes to love and your source of happiness, do you want to be a push start car or a self start car? Do you need people to push you to start get you going, or do you want to be, you put in your own ignition and you're like, beep beep, I'm gone.
We're doing it.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to be a push start car. I want to be a self-start car. And that, I think that was like, okay, I just want to be fully single. Because the excitement of like dating apps and this and that, I'm like, it's going to take energy from me, and it's like, I'm very all or nothing. I think that's one thing I realized. I can't, maybe I can half-ass some things, I'm sure, but like, a lot of bigger things, it's like I'm either really thinking about it a lot or not. Like, even with projects and stuff, or YouTube. I'm either like fully so into thinking about YouTube all the time, or I'm like, I don't want to think about it at all. And I think that's like with dating too. I'm like, I don't know if I can just like
Either we're in it or
casually
out of it.
date and not think about like that excitement and love and attention from other people. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna lock shop. You know, it's like the store's either open or closed. You can't be a store that's open and there's no inventory.
Right now it's closed.
Yeah.
Right now it's closed, and we are reorganizing the things inside.
Because if I'm a shop, I don't have inventory, I open, I see people coming in and out, I'm gonna want to stock my shop.
Fill it up.
Yeah, we need to renovate the shop.
We need to renovate.
Yeah, actually fully renovated. Full-blown renovation,
everything.
right? So you need to close your shop when you're renovating.
New logos.
Yeah, shelves getting pulled down,
All
walls
of it.
ripped. Yeah, you can't go into Kaufland and they're gutting everything and there's no
can't go in.
food,
That's
you
not a
can't
fun
buy
place to be.
nothing.
They're working on themselves.
Exactly, so that's why you gotta close the shop when you're doing structural renovations, and after you could
Structural
be like,
renovations.
open.
So that we find the assuredness and validation and love in our heart.
Yes.
Yes. It's hard because there's also a balance, because then there's like, you have to recognize, it's important to recognize that that's something that's like a natural human urge to need from other people, but also that's something that's so valuable to have from yourself. And then that's so good that like you recognize that that's something that you do need and really appreciate from other people, but you're lacking being able to feel it from yourself.
Yeah.
So you're like, now we're gonna work on that.
But also from friends too. Like when you close your shop to renovate the shop, there are construction workers in the shop. You're just not selling stuff to them.
Right.
You're not selling fruits and stuff to them,
Right.
but they're there to help you renovate.
Right, there is so much help in there still.
Yeah, you're not renovating all of Kaufland alone.
Never. That would not be possible.
It's so big.
You
It's like
would
a big
break.
store.
It would break and it would never happen.
I know, like there would be like one pillar and you'd be like, oh my god, it's so high.
What do
How am I
we
gonna hold it up
do
with
this all by yourself?
Exactly. Have you ever seen someone
Right.
build a condo one person?
Never.
Nope.
Never.
There's a
And if
crane
they did, it
operator.
took probably forever.
Probably not possible.
And probably never finished.
Probably not even possible.
Can't even happen, actually. That project never started.
They can't start. Can't get approved by the city.
Not with one person.
No. So if I'm saying I made that commitment where I'm like I want to be celibate this year, I think past 3 months I was submitting plans to the city for the renovation, right? You know, nothing was actually going down.
Right.
We hadn't knocked down anything. We didn't touch a nail. But now this flight, April.
Oh, that's solidified it.
Yeah, I think
The project has started.
I think we.
In our structural
we're
work
in
is
the
going
building.
now.
We're in
Yes.
the building now. We got the seal of approval.
Yes.
And we're gonna start with things that are familiar, just like taking down some stuff, and we're gonna start going in, and then we're gonna start building things. But that stuff is gonna be happening down through the year, like trying new things and working on farms and mud and
Running in the
stuff.
sun naked.
Yeah.
With goats.
Yeah.
And chickens.
Yes. Yeah, just like doing anything I've never done before.
Closing our shop. That's such a good metaphor. Snap the legs together. It is closed. But also it's cool because like celibacy then for you really is not just like not having sex. It's like you're
I'm not
working-
dating. I don't want to date.
Yeah, you're like really working on yourself and you're thinking of these things that you want to
Yeah.
heal and merge back together.
Kiss.
I just thought about how he tried to kiss me. Oh, I don't feel good about it. Well, I only recognized what was going on too late. And so I was like, that's where I'm happy about my spaciness.
I don't think you're spacey. I think he was just abrupt.
He was a little abrupt. By the train station?
Yeah.
Like, not cute or romantic or giving me time to prepare.
One last thing.
One last thing. Right, like...
He could ask you, can I give you a kiss?
Exactly. Like how Mr. Man, Best Sex of My Life Man did. And he did it in such a sexy way too. He was like, I have a question. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, can I give you a kiss? And I was like, yeah. Consent is key.
And consent can be
Sex. Exactly. Especially ask him straight away.
Hey, baby.
Hey,
Can I give you a kiss?
yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, give me a kiss.
Can I give you a big old kiss?
That's how
should go down.
Yeah, I love it.